Hello and welcome to this gameplay video from the upcoming online RPG Book of Travels. This is going to be a sort of guided walkthrough of the gameplay where I talk a bit about the different features that we have and hopefully also share some philosophies that have helped us and that have shaped the development of the project. With that being said, let's head into the game and start by creating a character. So keep in mind that this is pre-early access footage, so you will see a lot of things looking like this. Unfinished things, sketches, features that are currently in development, and probably a lot of bugs as well. So hopefully we'll get through this without too many hiccups, but we'll see how that goes. The game is set to be released next year for early access. It's a pretty big game. It's a MMO style game. It's an online RPG, so there's just too many facets for me to cover in this video. So some of the stuff like the communications features between players in multiplayer, the lore, the story, some other things, I just won't be able to cover in this video. So hopefully we'll do some other future updates and videos about those topics later on. So the first thing that I'm gonna pick for my character is the form. And this is a concept that we have in this game with that it's a bit reminiscent of how classes work in sort of conventional RPGs, in that the form sort of dictates what type of skills you have easier to learn, what type of talents you get to choose and so on, but more importantly they are meant to be sort of inspirational to your role playing. So they're quite different. We've made the forms based on different archetypes, heroes and characters in mythology, in literature, in theater. So they differ quite a lot. So you should really pick a sort of form that resonates with how you want to role play and how you see your character. And I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to pick one of the finalized ones. So I'm probably going to pick this, the Murther. It's actually me who does the portraits, so I have no one to blame for only 4 of them being made at this point. I'll get to it right after this. Each form has an origin and a wind affinity, and the wind affinity I will talk more about when we come to the skills tab. But first is the background, and here you enter an age, gender, and then you pick a background, upbringing, and you can also enter your sort of custom background story here. I'm just gonna pick one here. Small town seems good. Right, type female. And then personality, this is of course one of the most crucial things for the role-playing aspect of the game. You pick positive and negative personality traits that sort of matches the way you want to play and the way you see your character. But they also have a gameplay meaning or a function. So each one of these we can read about them, like picky eater. You're unable to eat low-quality food. That's not good. Your emote icons are smaller than others because you're shy. Some of them are hilarious actually, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to pick romantic and optimistic. That seems like me. And maybe disoriented. Let's see what then. You respawn further away from where you fainted or fled combat if you're not a part of a group. Yeah, that's not good, but let's go with it. Romantic, you gain more knowledge in parties of 2. You gain even more knowledge when winning against bad odds when you're optimistic. Yeah, let's go for this. So this brings us to skills, and this is a cool part about the game because we've really taken our own sort of take on skills compared to other conventional RPGs and conventional fantasy settings. So the type of skills that we have in our game are knots, teas, abilities, and passives. And there are actions as well, but there are things like sitting down and removing your hat and things like that. But yeah, knots and tees are the two major sort of magical skill categories, and the tying of knots using regions and fabrics, they create sort of a instant magical effect, and it's a big part of the lore. And then the brewing of teas is another one, where it's more preparation involved. You have to find the right ingredients, and then you have to sit down by a fireplace, and then you can prepare a tea. And those effects have magical properties that are, stretches over a long period of time. So they're a bit different, but both are cool. And then abilities are things that help you survive, often focused on nature and stuff like that. Like, it says here cunning, guile, survival instincts. And then passives, that are things that are always active, and they can have a variety of different effects. Talents, unfortunately, is a system that we haven't finalized. We're working on that. But that's every form has a few points to allocate in different talents. And the talents are social skills, physical, mechanical, and spiritual. And those skills are then sort of aiding you and your group in different endeavors that you can encounter in the game, big or small. But they're not implemented currently here, so I'm gonna pick my starting skills. And for this we have create wind cover, that seems good. Hide in water, assemble fireplace, yeah. And it's because I have a sort of a wind affinity, and the wind affinity is that it's another piece of the lore. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's basically each form is tied to one of the 4 capital winds, and I'm tied to the eastern, I believe, and that makes it easier for me to learn things that has to do with nature, like hiding in water, assembling fireplace, and creating a wind cover. So a lot of abilities, but I believe that this one is also not. Yeah, this is a magical thing. I'll skip that one. And for the appearance, I get to choose my eye color. And as you can see here, we have a bit of a different naming than normal colors. So we call black, for example, we call char. And I'll pick this one, to pale umber.
Hey.
And then you get to choose a voice. Hey. I'm gonna go with this one. And you can enter your additional appearance here if you have any. Now it comes to the equipment part. And here I actually get to roll my starting equipment. So it rolls both your equipment my equipment that I'm wearing, and also what I have in my backpack when I begin the journey. So I can re-roll this how many times I want, and I can store the results or recall the latest stored roll if I want to. I'm just gonna grab something that is this seems like me. This is good. Cane. Weak walking stick, yeah, that's perfect. Let's go with this. And here I get to choose the name, and that's the last part of the character creation. And because of the aspect of immersion, we've decided to, have the names being rolled instead of picked, because we want the world to feel coherent, and we don't want to moderate who picks names that sort of break that convention. So I'm just gonna pick a name that I like here. Yeah, this seems good. Right. You can also enter your nickname here, of course, if you care to. But let's finish this up and head into the game. So here we are in game with the character that we created. And we're now in the western part of the game world, and it's a pretty vast place. I actually have no idea how long it would take to traverse on foot from one side to the other, but it's pretty big. Just these few scenes that we'll be walking through in this video is pretty big, so we'll see. And I've sort of skipped ahead a bit. I've skipped the starting scenarios and the narrative sort of beginning of the game, and have a few hours of gameplay behind me already. So here I am at a watermill where I just entered the trade view to see what the miller head is selling. Actually not going to trade for something right here. I'll get back to the trading feature a bit later on when I get to a bigger town. Oh, there's a pig that I can interact with. I'm gonna cuddle that. Oh, come. So we call this game a TMO RPG, which stands for Tiny Multiplayer Online. And what it means is that there's actually quite few people on each server. And we don't know exactly. I can't say exactly how few because, like I mentioned, the world is very big, and we don't really know honestly how often you encounter someone. It's probably one of the sort of bad things about this design is that we have to sort of simulate how often we think people will encounter and where we think people will walk in the world and try to tailor it in accordance to that. But that's one of the challenges. But we'll fine tune that. But yeah, there's a chance of meeting someone, and not for me though, because I'm playing here at the office, and unless someone else in the studio is playing here, I won't be encountering anyone else today. Oh, there's a child.
Hello.
Oh, come back.
Hi.
Here. Yeah, this kid wants nails for their treehouse that they're building. But I think I have to go to a blacksmith to get them, but I'm not gonna do that now. But yeah, there's many group-oriented features that we've designed and that we're working with, and the talents plays into that as well. So you can complement each other in a group with different talents to overcome a larger amount of endeavors that you encounter. Here's actually a regent, and this is good. Regents are what sort of fuels the magical skills of the world. So in my skill book here I have, for example, this knot skill here uses jade algae and seashells. So you collect different regents to fuel these different categories of skills. And here is all the regions that I have and haven't collected yet. So they're usually quite easy to find if you know what to look for. If you just run past in the woods, it's pretty hard to see. But if you have a keen eye and you sort of train yourself to recognize them, you'll find a few. And the good thing is that you can hover over with the mouse to detect them as well. And you usually find quite a few in each place. So 5 there, for example. And there is also things like this to find. There is a chance that you encounter objects that are not regents, but dropped stuff and other things lying around that you can pick up. And I have a full backpack now, but I need to sell up some stuff when I get to a village. So let's talk a bit about what the game is about. And this is a bit of a tough one because we decided early on that Book of Travels was not going to be an RPG where you are forced into a narrative or a quest chain that sort of takes you from A to B and tells you what to do. We wanted a story and a setting where you're not really the hero of the world. There is an overarching story that you can sort of unfold and that you can take part in, but it's not a narrative that's sort of forced upon you. So we want the characters that you create to be what's driving the adventure forward. So a lot of it comes down to the way you want to role play and the way you want to sort of set goals for your character. Because if you want to be a character that focus on trading and crafting and gathering, then there's a world to explore just with that. But if you're an adventurous type and you want to seek out all the corners of the world, then there are dangerous places you need to be ready for, and you need to gather skills and abilities that will protect you. But you can also approach the game completely socially, just relaxing, staying in the safe areas, interacting with other players, playing music, chilling in tea houses, and stuff like that. So that's definitely a situation where what you bring into the world is what you get out of it. There's a trinket hoarder there. I'm not gonna interact with, I think. And we've actually reached the end of this area. So this is one area that we just passed, and I haven't explored it but fully, but we'll jump to the next one. This is temp graphics here, of course. And now I've traveled south to an area that is like a big open field area. And I can actually zoom out here and get a bigger view of the scenery. And I'll just move along here and listen to the music. Supposed to be quite safe to travel the main road. These are a couple of bandits, I think gang members. I have a weapon equipped, but I'm not ready to engage in combat with these guys. Actually, let's see if I can talk with them. Yeah, that's one of the core things about the world, is that the main road is very well guarded and it's considered very safe. So if I travel along the main road in these sort of urban-esque areas, then they'll be pretty safe. I'm just gonna run away a bit, I think. But I think these guys can be provoked to fight, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna use a knot skill, a knot magic that I have to transform into an animal, because I want to explore a bit off-road, and this is a great skill if you need to traverse sort of open areas a bit more quickly. But yeah, there are a few permanent NPCs and places in the world that sort of always behaves the same way, but most of the world is random. So it's a fairly complex system that we built that allows everything to change depending on any number of factors like day and night and tons of different conditions. So it's just it's very complex and very different each time you walk through an area. And it's also horrible to record a video, I can tell you, because you never know what you're gonna see. So that's another. Yeah, here is when you do a human action in animal form, you actually transform back. So I can stay in animal shape for quite a long time, but as soon as I do something only a human would do, then it breaks the spell. So picking up regents I can't really do and keep the spell going. But that's okay, I'm just gonna explore a bit more here. Regents is also one of the features that we have reworked quite a bit, because now it actually fix it. Actually, you need to find the proper ingredients to create to tie a magical knot or brew a magical tea. And it used to be a lot more simple, like you needed any flower or any regent you picked up. Oh, here's the fireplace. Allowed you to. It was the same sort of currency, so you could just stack up. Any flower would give a certain amount, and you used them for all the skills. But here is actually an endeavor, and this is cool. This is the first endeavor we encounter, and some regents I think are a bit rare. Yeah, Whispering Orchid. And the endeavors are. Actually, I can pray here. This is a mystical endeavor, and I have, I think, just one point in mystical now. So we'll see if something happens. I think there's a chance that nothing happens, and I just think nothing happened. Yeah, you can sort of pray at these places, and depending on your talent in spiritual, you'll get different results. There's also chance involved. So if you're in a group and one person has a stronger sort of spiritual side, then that will render a better effect. Might be a bug though that nothing happened. I'm not sure. But yeah, regions like this one. Now every region is my life. Yeah. Every region is unique, so I need to pick up something to eat before I'm gonna fall down, I think. There is a survival aspect of the game as well, and I think I actually need to start paying attention to it because my energy is quite low. So I'm actually gonna try to fish, but I want to find another place first. I can't cross here. This water is too deep, but I will actually use the fold skill, which allows me to sort of instantly teleport to another place within the range. And I have the regions for it, so I can probably use it to get to the other side. So we took the decision that you need to find the proper regions for each skill. So now you need to know exactly what the type of skills that you carry, what regions are needed to create those magical knots or teas. And it's quite cool because when you travel the world, you sort of get to understand that where different flowers grow and where to find the proper ingredients. So you get to sort of master the environments that they thrive in and to find them more easily. And as you've noticed, my energy is getting quite low, so I'll just use this time to fish here. And fishing is an ability, so it doesn't work off regions, it works off a condition, like it needs to be close to water or a cooldown. You can actually see my energy is getting very low. And the other bar there is the stamina bar, and the card a bit next to it is an effect card that sort of tells you what you're being affected by. It can be positive and negative things. I want to see what I'm gonna catch. Yeah, nice. Rotten fish. Yeah, you know it's good when you pull up a fish from the river and it's rotten already. That's a lush world. But yeah, the survival thing is an important feature. It's not like the major aspect of the game, but you need to keep track of different conditions. Like we separate being tired from being hungry, or your clothes being wet from walking in water, things like that. So now I'm actually dangerously low on energy. I'm not gonna die. The character won't die from sort of losing all the energy, but you will faint and wake up somewhere else, and then you will have lost a life petal, and you only have a couple of ones of those, so they can be replenished, but it's quite hard. This is actually cool. I'm gonna make a fire here. This is a Nomad's Rest. It's a small wooden structure that doesn't have any features now, but we're working on there's an NPC here. Let's see. It's going to be the place where you can sort of write your story. You can update your background story, your character text and all that stuff in Nomad's Rest. And hopefully in the future we'll also have some sort of home knot where you can tie a knot at the Nomad's Rest, and then you can return to it using a skill. Just going to eat this rotten fish, see what that gives me. Yeah, it actually boosts the energy a bit. And that's another effect card. I'm close to a fire. And now I'm actually gonna brew a tea. And I have a couple of ones that I've collected already. You can usually buy them at tea houses or find them in randomly. But I only think I have one that I have the regions for. It's this one, the Bedimming Brew. So teas require quite a lot of preparations. First you need to acquire the skill. That's something I can talk a bit about because it's not something that happens upon leveling up. It's something that you need to acquire from a source. Like you'll learn the fishing skill from a fisherman probably, or you'll learn the teas, the different brews in a tea house. Now I'm actually getting the effect of the Bedimming Brew, and that creates some sort of blur that makes me harder to detect by sort of animals and spirits and dangers. I can put out the fire, but I'm not going to. And having that non-linear skill progression, if you wish, that also ties into the way you sort of approach the game, because if you just walk around in the urban environments, you'll find skills that are suited to be in those urban environments. But if you're encountering enemies and adventuring and doing dangerous things, then you will get skills that sort of confirm that way of playing as well. So the way you set your goals and the way you choose to play actually sets off a chain reaction that will allow you to get better at what you're doing. Oh, just found something here, and this is I've reached the end of, or one of the ends of this area that I'm in. So now I can travel further south, or southeast actually, to the city of Crossings. So here I am at one of the 4 roads that make up the city of Crossings, where 4 roads cross. And it doesn't have any river. There's no water running through this town, so it prides itself on having a railroad station. And you can see the tracks up in the background. I can go all the way over there, but I'm not going to now. I'm just going to head on here and enter the town. But yeah, I've sort of walked through a couple of safe areas now, like the ones I've been following the main road, and it's generally very safe, especially during the day, but at night it can be very dangerous. There's a lot of different sort of dangers that you can encounter. During the night, the cities are actually quite full with people and life, but during the day they can be a bit sleepy. So this is a weavery, and I'm speaking to someone here. That I think I'm going to enter a trade just to trade off some stuff. Here we see the trade view. Yeah, they have a lot of cloth material and stuff like that, but I'm just going to trade away my extra stuff. And you see a sort of a trade value on the scales. Yeah, I don't think she won't accept that. Yeah, she'll accept this. This is a pretty bad trade for me, but I just want to sell it off. Oh, there's the train. There's so much depth to the trading system. Different merchants want different things, and there's a whole world to discover there. There's actually a Sephirah Shrine, and Sephirah are the guardian sort of spirits of this region, and each town has a shrine dedicated to their local sort of spirit, and you can make offerings here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my stuff for now. But yeah, there's several sort of functions in a town that you'll find in each city, and this is a well, so I can probably drink here. If I'm lucky, I probably can just drink here. Yeah. Sometimes there's a strength physical endeavor here, so you need to be either a strong person or a group to sort of dig up something from the well. You can find stuff, but that's all by chance, so nothing here. And then there's tons of merchants. There's a tea house. A lot of stuff going on, and there's also a trainmaster's chest at each train station, and that's a place where you can sort of rent extra space. So if you have something that you want to save but you don't have the place for it in your backpack, you can go there and stash it off. Here's a couple of merchants. General store. Yeah, hello. But I'm heading to the smithy. It's this one. Yeah, so the trading is so much involved in it, like the different categories of items that the different merchants want, what regions the items are from. So you could find stuff in the north that would fetch a good price in the south, and so on. So there's many dimensions to it, and also certain merchants are just cheaper than others. So you also need to understand them as individuals somewhat. Some are very liberal, but some are really cheap. Yeah, they have the nails here, so I'm gonna get that if I ever encounter that treehouse building kit again. And I'm gonna pick up a better sword and some other stuff, possibly something to wear. Like my character's an aspiring adventurer, so something protective. Yeah, this one has ward. That's good. And yeah, I'm selling a bit too cheap here again for me, but it doesn't matter. Now I get something to wear. So if you want to deep dive into the trading, there's tons of stuff to discover there. You can probably become quite a better trader than I am currently, quite fast. There's different skills also that will give you tells on the different merchants, like what they prefer and so on. So you can, if you want, you can sort of hone in on that as well. And here's the tea house now. And the tea house is yet another town function that you'll find a lot about. They have different foods you can buy, and they also have free tea that you can drink, that you can replenish your energy or your life. And this is a good place to sort of meet up with other players. You can spend some time here. There's many things that can happen in the tea house. This is actually quite fair trade. Actually, I think I'm gonna head in here and get something to eat because my energy is low again. So yeah, it's an important function. There's also supposed to be, maybe we haven't added it, but there's supposed to be some sort of gift case that you can give stuff to the house in return for using their services. So I'm actually going to start to head out and wrap this up. And unfortunately, there hasn't been time to show or talk about all the stuff that I want to bring up. There's many facets to the game that has just not been even mentioned. Like you mentioned Ward, which is one of the 4 statistics of item stats that you can have, and they are very crucial to how combat works. So hopefully we can bring some more videos like this where I continue to speak about and break down some of the features that we haven't talked about. Like multiplayer is another thing. Would be great to showcase. The communications feature between players is pretty unique, and you can see it as an empty frame in the lower left corner. But that's for another day. And now that we've sort of looked at this village, I think I'm actually gonna log in with one of the characters that are a bit further ahead down south, because that's the area that we're currently working on, and it's the sort of major city of Casa, and it's not nearly as finished as these areas that I've shown now, but it's what we're currently working on, so maybe it's nice to show. I actually think that a lot of people at the studio won't appreciate me showing it in this state that it's in now, but that doesn't matter. It can be nice to see anyway, but just keep that in mind, that it's pretty early and far from how we want it to look. So I will wrap this up by saying thank you so much for your time, and I hope that this video has shed some light on what the project is all about. On behalf of everyone at Might and Light, thank you so much to everyone who supports the game or backers. And if you want to see more stuff from Book of Travels, then feel free to reach out to us, because we will be bringing more videos like this in the future. And with that, I'll sign off and let the music and the unfinished city of Casa speak for itself. Stay safe. Goodbye.